The information expressed in the following podcast is intended for educational purposes only and was created by and belongs solely to Believe Limited and the Flow podcast and does not necessarily reflect the views of our sponsors. Please speak to your healthcare provider before making any medical decisions.
Hi, I'm Jessica. I'm here like every blessed month with Sarah Watson, sex therapist. And we want to share that there's a perspective that the action of activism resembles that of a choir. Many voices can sing a single note, so it does not matter if one voice must drop out to take a breath. What matters is that with many voices, the sound does not stop. So we on Flow know that we're not the first voices to advocate for normalizing menstrual health realities, and we certainly hope to not be the last.
Absolutely. We on Flow believe in menstrual care, health, education, access, and equity. We find that it's essential to recognize the moments in time where progress for such equity has been made. To keep moving in the direction of growth and development, we're going to review a timeline of impactful moments in legislation that has to do with, you guessed it, menstruation.
But first, of course, we want to know, how's your flow? Great. Welcome once again to Flow. To normalize the reality of menstruation, we're going to check in. We are with our hormonal and perhaps menstrual flows right now, starting with me, Sarah. I'm finishing up my bleeding. I'm in my final day of menstruation, which is technically day 4 then of my new cycle.
Right. Yeah. Well, depends on how long you bleed for, right?
Right. There.
How did it go? How are you feeling? Let's not move on yet. Come on. How did it go?
It flowed. I will say I was traveling a little bit at the start of it, and that is always a little bit intense, but it was fine. I love a Diva cup, love a menstrual cup for care on the road. And, I find it interesting. You know what I noticed this time? The smell of menstrual blood changes. Sometimes it's more irony. Sometimes, this time, it smelled like a pumpkin.
Oh.
And I know that pumpkins are signs of fertility in some cultural practices and some more of the land understandings. But I think I smelled like a pumpkin.
I kind of like that.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, but the change in smell, that absolutely. Just start
is
paying attention to menstruator. Yeah, yes, absolutely. That's so cool.
But
how cool is our body?
It's so amazing, that we can have these little cues to listen to what's happening based on our sensory input. If it smells more irony, I don't know if that means I'm losing more iron or that I need iron because I'm losing it, or do I have a bunch? That's why it smells irony. Am I eating too much pumpkin because I smell pumpkin-y? I don't know.
I mean, did you eat any pumpkin?
No, not yet. No.
Yeah, I was like, it's not the season, but I listen. I love a pumpkin anything. That's great.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks for unpacking it. How's your flow hormonally? How are you speaking?
Hey, pretty sure I'm about to ovulate.
Oh.
It's getting to be that time. So I've noticed in the last couple months too, and I'm hoping, this is a weird thing to hope for, but I've had some vertigo before I ovulate. Happened 2 months in a row. Yeah, so strange, right? So I'm hoping it happens again so I can go back to my provider and be like, hey, what the hell is happening?
You hope you get vertigo? You hope you have your symptom again so you can unpack it, but I understand you hope you have vertigo. That's hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah, but it goes away after I ovulate and I'm like, oh, that happened again. That's weird.
Listen, I am not a doctor. I haven't been to medical school, but I've been speaking to OBGYNs now for a while, and we've been talking about menstruation pretty regularly. And I got to say, I think that there is an untapped study that needs to be done on the spinal cord and menstrual realities, the migraines that are part of so many menstruators' experiences, as well as what you're saying, the idea of being dizzy when your body is doing that active thing of ovulating, bursting out an egg and catching it, playing catch with yourself.
Yeah. Well, I also too, I wonder how that plays into, because I'm not 100, am I in perimenopause? Who knows? Is that a part of perimenopause? Is it a part of ovulation? Is it a part of both?
Wait, you didn't get a text that you were starting it? Can you sign up for text notifications now?
I'm really disappointed in my doctor. She didn't text me yet. And I want her to text me. I want to be your friend, so she should tell me.
I think you might be entering perimenopause. Well, no, I guess you never know until you only know retroactively. Is that true?
No, well,
You just never know?
I think we can look at your hormones and say, okay, hey, what's going on with testosterone and estrogen and progesterone, and see like, hey, something is happening, and it has to be on a certain day of your cycle where you can draw your hormones and we can look at it and be like, okay, this is what's going on. So I think that gives more indication. But guess what? Is that covered by insurance? No. Shocking.
No, and so unfortunately, here's the thing. As menstruators, we can just menstruate. We don't need permission or rights to do so. We just do it. Our bodies do it. Sometimes it's extreme. Sometimes it's cyclical. But there is legislation that impacts our ability to be well as we do so if we live in any government situation. So here in America, for example, there are some legislation points in history we're going to bring up that have impacted menstruators' ability to care for themselves and their menstrual experience.
Right.
So... It's like study hall, by the way. This isn't a comprehensive list of all legislation ever made, but it is a taste, a smattering, if you will, of things that relate to menstrual health issues.
Right. Things that we found fascinating. Join us in our study hall.
Do like a little da 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 da.
I
don't know, what is study hall music? Oh, the Breakfast Club song.
Yes. I love it. Yes. Perfect. Do that, please.
This ad is brought to you by Von Vendi, Von Willebrand Factor Recombinant.
Hi, my name is Nicole. I didn't always feel empowered to speak up for myself or ask for the care and support I needed. Becoming part of a community and hearing other people's experiences helped to change my perspective. That's why my deciding factor is making my voice heard. To hear my story and access other helpful resources, drop by Von Vendi, that's VONVENDI.com/patient-stories.
Yeah.
He like punches this guy.
Yeah. He's like, bam!
Yeah, cool. The year was 1970. It was the Occupational Safety and Health Act. For employers with 100 or more employees, they were required, after this act, to provide products for menstrual care free of charge for their employees. If they had 100 or more, then the number is important. If you had less than 100, don't have to provide free products. Over 100, free menstrual products. Interesting. 1970.
So have you worked for a company that had over 100 people in it?
I work project-based, so I've worked 4 projects that have had large teams, but never an ongoing company. Have you?
Yeah, well, I worked for a very large restaurant chain that I know had over 100 people, and there were for sure not free products offered. So when I read this while we were doing research for this and you put that in there, I was, I know everyone. Shocked. Everyone's going to, I was shocked. So I think that's really interesting.
Yeah. Wait, right. So if this is an act that this is required, does that mean if I'm a menstruator working at a company with more than 100 people and there are not available products to me, I could check in with HR, with company leads and ask where they will be provided? I wonder what types of products those cover and if you have to ask for them, if they're supposed to be preemptively provided. But yeah, it is the law as of 1970.
You would think that what I'm thinking of is the employee bathroom, right? Like we had an employee bathroom and it was disgusting, as one would imagine. And no free products in there. So I think you'd have to go to like HR for sure, or like OSHA and like check in. Like they have to check on all of these things. But I was really surprised to read that. But thankful, but surprised.
Good information to have. I definitely have worked in companies with less than 100 that provide free menstrual care, but because they have their shite together, you know what I mean?
Good job, those companies.
That's right. Let's time travel, shall we? 20 years from 1970 to 1990 to the Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA. Now, this act provides accommodations for menstruation-related disabilities. ADA in general, from voting to parking, protects areas of public interest for public life. Now, we do have a little study hall convo to have about what is defined as a menstruation-related disability, like who has the standard, the list, are they adding to that? It does seem like PMDD has been noted. And so if you must, I don't know if you have to be successful with a diagnosis in order to have a doctor's note, or if you yourself know that you have an extreme menstrual condition, this applies to you. It allows you to request a private workspace if impacted by your disorder.
Right. And or time off.
And or time off.
What the heck?
So
That's amazing.
That's a great thing to know, but you have to ask for it, right? For it to get it. They're not just going to give it to you. So if you are experiencing PMDD and you're unable to perform your work tasks, you can, without losing your job, say, according to the ADA of 1990, I am allowed to request some time off now. I'm allowed to request to do this work from home. I mean, what a great thing to know.
Right. I think that's, again, another fascinating fact to think about. Okay, PMDD was in legislation in 1990. Amazing, because I feel like we're just now talking about it in the last handful of years. But okay. But again, you have to know that this is your right, and you have to know exactly how to request these things. So my guess is going to be a lot of documentation. So maybe that's what they want.
Yeah. And because, we are straight talk about extreme periods here, there might be pushback. If you are to request this, even though, of course, it's legal, that does not mean it will be easy or smooth to acquire. It does mean you can accommodate your own needs by referencing it to maintain employment. If your employer tries to fire you for having a period, that's not legal, but you might have to fight it because that's America.
This is America.
We'll just add like a little America, like Childish Gambino right there.
Perfect. Well, yeah, good old America.
This is America.
I mean, let's fast forward another 20 years, Sarah.
Let's do it. Let's see.
So
we're whoosh.
Wow. Faster than going from my 20s to almost 40, I'll tell you what. So should we talk about the Menstrual Equity for All Act? This is relatively recent, 3 years ago.
We should. Let's talk about it.
Great. Okay, the Menstrual Equity for All Act of 2021. Here we are. This bill would expand access to free menstrual products in certain locations and for specific groups. It would also require Medicaid to cover menstrual products, meaning Medicaid couldn't refuse to cover menstrual products, as well as liners, cups, and similar items. The bill would also give states the option to use federal grant funds to provide students in elementary and secondary schools with free menstrual products. So this Menstrual Equity for All Act does have to do, once again, with product supply, which is important when managing and caring for blood, menstrual blood. Now, what keyed me into those words that I want to look up more about, the bill would expand access to free menstrual products in certain locations and for specific groups. Those modifiers are very interesting.
I'm dying to know what they are. Really, like, how is the government deciding where and who? Please. Like,
yes.
We didn't choose to have a menstrual cycle. In fact, we all know that I choose not to. Right? So, like, I am privileged enough to know that is a very big... It's a significant privilege to be able to choose not to have one, but not everyone is in my shoes. So, but how are they deciding? And let's look at the legislation. Who are the deciding people? I'm very curious. What do we know?
Well, so for one thing, the more details we have is that the bill imposes requirements to make free menstrual products available in federal and state correctional facilities. So that is a pro. We do believe in, improving access to menstrual education and aid to incarcerated menstruators everywhere. But so faculties that house those detained by the Department of Homeland Security, so free menstrual products there, that's a win. Until we can dismantle such a thing. Okay, wait. And then let's see, in federal buildings that are open to the public. And it also establishes the grant program to support provision of free menstrual products on campuses and institutions of higher education. So not sure what the protocol is for students or for the institutions to make sure that they are able to receive the funds or those products.
I'm just thinking about like the last time I was in a government building and thinking about, did I go into the bathroom? Listen, I haven't been in a government building in a while. And the last one I can think about is the library.
I had to go do something with a tax form, but I don't remember. Ugh. I didn't visit the restroom.
I'm going to start going into all of the bathrooms and seeing if they're free.
Please record that. Content is queen.
I'm going to start with the library at first and see what happens.
That's great. I have thought about on travels, like checking out different restrooms and how they handle where you put it, right? Like where the trash can is, all those little things, where the water is if you're going to rinse a cup.
It's usually, there's no cup rinsing station. Let's be serious.
No, not yet. But we should have a travel show just to figure this out probably, Sarah. We should just probably be paid to travel around and check out menstrual care situations in different buildings.
in like a red car.
Yeah.
Maybe a convertible.
Yeah, maybe eco-friendly.
Is there a convertible Prius or Bolt?
Ooh, what's a Bolt?
It's like Chevy's electric vehicle. It's tiny and hilarious.
Oh my God, great.
Yes.
This episode took a turn. Furthermore, back to the bill. The bill requires employers with at least 100 employees to provide free menstrual products. So this is also part of that. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So 2021 was a productive year for increasing potential access to supplies. But again, institutions are going to have to apply for those grants to get the money to then have the free access or free products available for students. It is positive that Medicaid is required to cover menstrual products and that correctional facilities have free menstrual products supplied. Who's checking up to make sure that they're there, though? Sarah, seriously, let's go. Let's go to jail.
Okay, let's do it. Let's go to federal prison and see what is provided. I'm very curious. Because as you're speaking, that's what I'm thinking about. What are they being provided with? Like, are they, because let's be serious, it's not the nice products.
Sure, it's not top of the line new period panty underwear that's just came out. No.
No. It is the most affordable and or let's call it cheap product that you can get mass made, right? Like, let's be serious.
By companies that might not have best menstrual care ideals in mind. And yes, no, it's it was wild. I was at a couple of the encampment days over nearby here in Los Angeles at UCLA. And one thing that was amazing, naturally, I brought a supply of menstrual care.
Good job.
And they had enough for months. It was amazing. There was different types, different kinds, a whole like table supply. I was proud to see that people understood the care needed. If only we could ship that other places around the world.
Right.
Such access would be great.
It would be amazing. All right. Where are we off to next? What year are we going to?
Well, the year is still 2021. Actually.
Okay.
And we're in Illinois. So a little traditional geographical travel instead of time travel this time.
Okay. All right.
We have the HB 155. This bill allows recipients of benefits provided under the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, aka SNAP, and the Special Supplemental Nutrition Program for Women, Infants, and Children, WIC, to use their benefits to purchase menstrual products. Okay, so just 3 years ago, SNAP benefits became menstrual product eligible.
I mean, I'm really glad it's there, but again, what the beep.
That is late. Late.
Well, and for WIC too. Like that is how women menstruators and or people with potential to menstruate are providing for their kids if they're on that program. Part of that is taking care of your menstruation. I can't formula and all of that comes through WIC. Why wouldn't even just a tampon or a pad until 3 years ago? That's insane.
3 years ago. Yeah, it's so interesting. They have the potential to menstruate or really the potential to become pregnant, which is how people are really defined in America.
This is America.
Yeah.
If you have the potential to become pregnant, you are one kind of citizen that has certain laws and legislations applying to you. And if you don't have the potential to become pregnant, you do not. Now, the way that is beneficial, because we'll fast forward just a couple years to about a year ago, from 2021 to 2023, to talk about the Pregnant Workers Fairness Act. Now, while that sounds like it would just impact those who are pregnant, this act actually opens up that reality of potentiality to be pregnant to encompass anyone who menstruates, and that's a good thing. Let's explain why.
Yes.
The Pregnant Workers Fairness Act, which is not yet taken into effect, it will be in effect this June, 2024. This act defines menstruation, perimenopause, and menopause as related medical conditions to pregnancy. Even if you've never been pregnant, just the capacity to be pregnant, the act of menstruation means that this act will protect you. What is it? What is it protections? What is it offering?
So we're offering reasonable accommodations, and we have curious questions about that. But what it says is light duty, adequate breaks, and requesting a stool, or what did we call it earlier?
To specify a seat, like a seating situation, like a
not the other kind of stool, right? We want something
sample.
To take care of your butt.
Yeah, butt situation, as you say.
Because listen, sometimes your butt can hurt when you're pregnant.
That's
just
true.
letting you know.
So you might need to sit down. Also, you might need to sit down when bleeding profusely from your uterus. And so the fact that uterine blood has the potential to be be part of pregnancy means that if you're just even having the blood come out of you, you'd be able to take that seat.
Right.
Take a seat.
Right. Because cramps, ow. Right.
Yeah.
Like they can be detrimental.
So this means you can ask for lighter duty, adequate breaks, reasonable accommodations, but one does need to ask, much like the other ADA laws of 1990. This new act that'll be in effect June 2024 means that it sounds like more extreme menstrual conditions can be covered.
Amazing. I think it's going to be out 5 days after our next episode. So June 18th, 2024.
That is coming up. Yeah, that's just in a few days from when you're listening to this, if you're listening to it on the day of release. Also, if you are, happy Pride. It's June.
Oh, yeah. Happy Pride.
Happy Pride, y'all.
June.
We hear somewhere over the rainbow. We're going to time travel geographically, travel actually, and maybe a little bit through time now to the British Standard Institute.
Right.
Righto. Sarah, what do you have for us here?
Okay. What I found really interesting about this is 25% of people who menstruate are dealing with health issues related to that, including menstruation, fertility, and menopause. 25%. I'm going to guess that is higher, but let's just go with the study said. But
So
interesting.
1 in 4. 1 in 4.
1 in 4. Yep. Okay. Love this. 40% of people are working through high menstrual pain or menopausal pain. Let's also put in perimenopause because let's just do that. Work through it. Are we shocked? I'm not. Nope.
Not shocked.
Of course. Right. So these, menopause and perimenopause symptoms can range from brain fog to insomnia, hot flashes. Everyone knows about the hot flashes, but I don't think we talk so much about the brain fog and the extreme fatigue, right? That women that are in perimenopause and menopause are dealing with. And I will remind listeners, perimenopause can last for 10 years before menopause.
Yes. And listeners, we have some great episodes. We'll include the links here about menopause. And the more information you have, the better, because of that fact, as we mentioned, that you don't get a text from your doctor that lets you know that you're in perimenopause. It's just that symptoms begin to occur, and how often and how intense can vary.
Yep. Right. But we're think of that, a decade of your life. You could be working through all of this with no accommodations. And the British Standard Institute is saying, we're done with that. We're not going to do that. And we are going to provide resources and support for all of these challenges.
Okay.
So leaves of absence, focus groups, actionable steps, and things like that. They are offering things so that they're offering tools and resources to businesses to help them figure this out. Because, oh my God, we're just trying to figure this out in 2024.
Right. And we've built up a lot of systems the wrong way. I keep thinking of it like a Dr. Seuss book or something, problematic as he is. But the idea that things have been built in this really lopsided way. And we are trying to now use resources to create something more stable. And there is some amount of dismantling, and there's some amount of dealing with the wobbliness, right? So even a system of work that doesn't center around menstruation is not sustainable. Yet we've been building upon it, a wobbly ship, for a while here. So now all these little changes, all these little helps are good. We have to do it slowly. And it's nice to know that businesses from the top are getting finances to support their doing this for their employees. Yeah.
Right. And this came out of, too, what they said in this information was it came out of this is the lowest fertility rate time, in history. So isn't that fascinating? So it's beneficial for companies to figure out what the heck is going on, because we still need people to work, right?
What do you mean?
We have to create more people.
Well, for capitalism.
Well, right. Then we're stuck. And we're like,
I mean, also, yeah, because with that fertility rate, I'm curious because, with a pandemic where there was a lot of lives shifting to soul turnover, and with intensive war and genocide with thousands and thousands of lives gone, that fertility rate is taken from which studies, from which people, and compared to what? Where we were 10 years ago, 20 years ago?
Exactly. Right.
I know personally, from talking to women, that there's fertility and menstrual issues galore, but I don't know the stats to trust.
Well, and that's what I was going to say, right? We have to really look at where is the information coming from? Who are they? How big is the sample size? What countries are these studies coming out of? Is it comprehensive? Probably not.
No.
But this is movement forward because we're talking about it. So we'll take it, I guess.
Well, and time travel, where were we in the British Standard Institute in learning that this is now a new standard of care that's going to be provided?
Oh, the time of this one. Great question. Hold on one second. Oh, 2023.
We're here. We're in the present day. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, that's cool. That's awesome.
The future is literally now. Like it hasn't been until now, and now it's the future. Right this.
Yeah, cool. Can we go back 1 year? Let's go back a year.
All right.
And let's go hang out with the World Health Organization, who, okay. And they let's
why not? What are you doing? Let's go.
Okay. And they finally created a statement. Let's just go with that. This is the statement about menstruation. And so often you have all seen this when you've gone into a drugstore, a grocery store, you've heard of this. Everyone says menstrual hygiene. Yep. Take a breath. Because what does that imply, friends? It implies that people who menstruate are probably not being hygienic.
There's nothing unhygienic about menstrual blood. Of course, we want to care for it and our bodies correctly, just like anything that our body needs care for, or things that come out of our orifices. But,
right.
It's not
just
unhygienic.
like as you would go to the bathroom, right? We menstruate. People menstruate.
Yeah, I guess it would be like calling toilet paper like butt hygiene product.
Yeah.
Or
I mean, yeah.
Poop
wipes.
Kind of true.
Yeah, I mean that is true. Okay, so listen. The World Health Organization calls for menstrual health to be recognized, framed, and addressed as a health and humans' right issue. Okay, so first they say to recognize it and frame it as a health issue, not a hygiene issue. Then to recognize menstrual health, means that people who menstruate have access to information, education, and menstrual products they need, including water, sanitation, and disposal facilities, to competent and empathetic care when needed. I love this. To live, study, and work in an environment in which menstruation is seen as positive and healthy and not something to be ashamed of. And to be able to, I know, right? It goes on. To participate in work and social activities fully. And then the third was to ensure these activities are included in relevant sectoral work plans and budgets, and their performance is measured. I'm not really okay, but
okay.
But
amazing. The point is that this is amazing. To reframe it as a human rights issue, because the recentering life on this act of menstruation, as opposed to treating it like it is something that needs to be. We're having fertility issues because as a society we've been treating menstruation like it's something to be shoved under the rug, as opposed to
dirty.
Centering life around, because that is what it's centered around, and denying that is causing a lot of pain.
Right.
Yeah.
So they continue to go on that they should make schools, workplaces, and public institutions supportive of managing menstruation with comfort and dignity.
Great. Who's enforcing this?
Right.
On the job. No, this is good news. This is 2022?
Yes. June 2022.
Well, heck.
We need to find out who is on the WHO menstruation subgroup. Who wrote that, right? I want to know who in the World Health Organization is doing this.
For those just catching on to the wordplay like I just did, that's World Health Organization, WHO, spelling who. Who at who is on this statement. Perhaps we will look into who we might speak to at who about this statement.
Yes, who knows?
Well, I know that there is so much more to think about. Legislation as it pertains to safety, health, the research that's needed. And for example, one more time, we're going to time travel now just back a little bit to the late early aughts in 2007, when there was a study done by PubMed, National Institute of Health,
Yep.
on the effect of war on the menstrual cycle. 6 months after a 16-day war, women in exposed villages aged 15 to 45 years were asked to complete a questionnaire relating to their menstrual health history at the beginning, 3 months after, and 6 months after the war. So there's some details. We'll include this study in the show notes. As it may not be surprising to hear, the conclusion of this study is naturally that the stress of war causes intense menstrual abnormalities.
There you go.
There it
I mean,
is.
I am not surprised by this. I think, as you said, you're not surprised by it either. I think what I would tie into, especially my work with my day-to-day work, I should say, with my clients, is that stress impacts us so greatly. Like, insane. If you have a high stress level, your menstruation, as we just heard, is going to shift. If you have a high stress level, most, not all, but most people don't want to have sex, right? It's not a stress reliever for most. Not all. Some are like, hey, let's get it on. I'm pissed. Like, let's go, right? But most people are not.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it really isn't. And so think about the casualty of war in general. Like, of course, your period is going to be jacked. Like, we just need to continue to study women and put money towards people who have the potential to menstruate and what happens with our bodies.
Yeah, and because this is
All
the
the time.
setting, and the setting of what menstruators have to deal with is a lot of legislation and stressful things to understand, like why we have to fight for bodily autonomy. But because of all this, because there is fighting to be done, a regulated nervous system and staying calm is the greatest tool we can use
Correct.
in creating revolution in how we deal with menstrual realities. So we hope to provide calm, reassuring data, information, patient and provider stories here on Flow. We will continue to do so every month.
This ad is brought to you by Von Vendy, Von Willebrand Factor Recombinant.
Hi, I'm Nicole. Discussing certain topics can make us feel vulnerable, embarrassed, or just plain awkward. But real issues deserve real talk. It's time to normalize talking about what's happening in our bodies, especially when it comes to our health needs. To get the conversation started, download a discussion guide at Von Vendy, that's vonvendi.com/vonvendi-support.
We will continue to do every month. Sarah, I didn't get to show you my emotional support
I loved
vaginal
that TikTok with
cheers.
so good.
Well, yes, I mean it doubles as glasses holder.
I love it. I need one of those. My clitoris is now in my office, so
Okay. Yeah, you keep it there.
it lives there.
That's nice. You like work.
I like it.
Yeah. You like your job if you keep your clitoris in your office, you know what I mean?
Yeah. She comes. She stays.
Well, we hope you all come back monthly to join us. That's my Saved by the Bell. We hope you all come back monthly to join us on Flow.
Yay.
We're cute.
That's cool. Yeah, we're
Okay.
awesome.
Thank you for stopping this. Flow is produced by Bloodstream Media. Big shout out to our creative director, Amy Board, and our editor, Kay Vermeil. New episodes of Flow will be available the second Thursday of every month.
Hey, that's the day after I start menstruating.
And thanks to our sponsor, Takeda, for their support of Flow.